I sold my car online to a stranger. Now he keeps appearing everywhere where I live. So here I am to 9F, and I made the mistake of selling my car online to a guy 40M who lived in a city a few hours away from mine. At the time, everything seemed fine. He seemed nice, he was looking for a car, and the deal went smoothly. I figured it would be a one-time interaction, and we'd both go our separate ways after the sale. We exchanged messages, agreed on a price, and met up in a public place to complete the transaction. I handed over the keys, signed the paperwork, and watched him drive away. I never thought I'd see him again. It felt like a routine sale, something anyone would do if they needed to get rid of a car. There was nothing about it that made me feel uneasy. I was just happy to have the money in my bank account and the car off my hands. But that was a month ago, and things have gotten strange. I kept going about my life, not really thinking about the transaction. And then, slowly, little things started happening. At first, it was just a sense of déjà vu. I'd notice a car that looked like the one I sold to him driving by my street. But I convinced myself it was probably someone else with a similar model. Or maybe I was just seeing things. I thought nothing of it. But then it happened more often. The same car, always the same one, would pass by my house. And the weird part, it seemed to slow down whenever it got near. Maybe it was just a coincidence, right? After all, we live in a world full of cars. But I began to feel like I was being watched. I dismissed it as paranoia, but still, there was a nagging feeling in the pit of my stomach. Maybe I was overthinking things, maybe I was just imagining it. Or maybe something was off. I decided to try and ignore it, thinking it was just some weird coincidence. Maybe he was just passing through, or maybe it was a fluke, but nope. One afternoon, I was sitting in my living room working from home when I caught a glimpse of movement outside. I glanced up, and there he was standing there, right outside my window. He didn't seem to notice me watching him. He just stood there, casually, almost too calmly, like he was waiting for something. I ducked behind the curtains in a panic, my heart pounding in my chest. What the hell was he doing? Why was he standing there, staring at my house? I felt like I couldn't breathe. Was this just some strange coincidence, or was something more sinister happening? I tried to tell myself I was just overthinking it, but the gnawing feeling in my gut wouldn't let me relax. I waited for what felt like hours, too afraid to even peek out from behind the curtains. When I finally did, he was gone, just like that. After that, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The next few days, I started noticing more strange things. I'd be walking around my house or getting in my car, and every time I looked up, there he was. Passing by, his car moving at a slow crawl when it reached my street. Sometimes he'd even wave at me, like we were old friends. I didn't wave back, of course. I didn't know what he wanted, but this was starting to feel way more personal than I was comfortable with. Every time I saw him, I'd get this chill down my spine, like I was being hunted or tracked. The paranoia set in. I stopped walking around my house as freely. I avoided looking out the windows, not wanting to see him standing there again. I started worrying about the simple things, like when I went out to get the mail or take out the trash. What if he was lurking around the corner? I even considered moving my car into the garage, hoping that would stop him from seeing me when I left or came home. I reached out to the platform where I sold the car, but they couldn't really do anything. I didn't want to make a bigger deal out of it than I already had. I thought maybe I was just being paranoid. He'd get the hint eventually, right? I hoped so. I tried to push the thoughts out of my mind, but it didn't get better. It got worse. One night, I was walking to my car, trying to get out of the house to run some errands and clear my head. I was almost to my car when I heard someone say my name from behind. I froze, my blood running cold. I turned around, and there he was standing way too close to me. I hadn't even seen him approach. His smile was so wide, so forced, it looked almost creepy. It was that grin you see on someone who's not all there, who doesn't quite understand boundaries. He asked me if I was enjoying the car, if I liked it, and if everything was fine with it. His voice was casual, like we were having a normal conversation, like nothing strange had happened. But it wasn't normal. Nothing about this was normal. My mind raced, but I couldn't think of what to say. I told him everything was fine, because I didn't know what else to say, but it felt like I was lying to get away from him. I quickly got in my car, locked the doors, and drove off as fast as I could. I tried to tell myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just being friendly, or maybe it was a one-off thing. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. He was making me feel unsafe in my own home, and I had no idea how to make him stop, but he's still been showing up. It hasn't stopped. In fact, it's gotten worse. Sometimes I see him just sitting in his car, parked a few houses down, watching my place. He doesn't even try to hide it. He's just there, parked in plain sight, staring. I've tried to convince myself it's a coincidence. Maybe he's waiting for someone else. Maybe it's just a random stop. But every time I look out the window, there he is waiting, watching, like he's studying my every move. Other times, he'll drive by slowly, so slowly that it feels like he's looking for me, looking for an excuse to see me. The car always seems to slow down when it reaches my house, and I feel my stomach drop as I watch him pass by. He never waves anymore, though. There's no more pretense of friendliness. Just this unsettling, cold stare. And what's worse, I'm starting to feel like he's tracking my routines, my schedule. I can't even leave my house without wondering if he'll be out there lurking, waiting for the right moment to pop up again. I don't know what he wants from me. What is his end game? Why can't he just leave me alone? It's been a month, and nothing about this feels right. Every time I think it's over, that maybe he's just gotten bored or moved on, he shows up again unexpected, like a shadow. I can't escape this feeling that I'm being hunted, that he's waiting for me to slip up, to make some move that will give him a reason to confront me again. I've tried talking myself down, convincing myself that maybe I'm overreacting. I've told myself that it's all in my head, that I'm just paranoid, but deep down, I know it's not. Something is seriously wrong here, and I feel like I'm losing control of my own life. I don't even feel safe in my own house anymore. I feel trapped in my own skin, always looking over my shoulder, checking windows, second-guessing every noise outside. I'm constantly on edge, and it's starting to wear on me mentally and physically. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make him stop without escalating things. I've thought about calling the police, but I'm scared they won't take me seriously or that they'll think I'm exaggerating. I don't want to make things worse. I don't want to become one of those people who make a big deal out of something that turns out to be nothing. But what if it's not nothing? What if I'm ignoring something I should have acted on sooner? I've considered moving, but that feels like running, and I don't want him to think he's driven me out of my own home. I don't want him to win, but I also don't want to live in fear. I'm scared to go outside. I'm scared to go to bed at night. It's starting to feel like he's part of my life now, and I can't shake him off. Is this normal? Am I overreacting? Have any of you been through something like this? What should I do? Please, someone tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me this is not just my imagination, because I can't shake the feeling that something far worse is coming, and I don't know how to stop it. Comment 1, US Japan Think 90. Up, this is not normal, and you're not overreacting. Document everything, dates, times, and what happened. If you have any photos or video footage, even better. Report it to the police. Stalking is illegal. They may not act immediately, but the more evidence you have, the more seriously they'll take you. Don't wait until it escalates. Comment 2. You cat lady for life. I've been through something similar, and you should definitely report it. Record everything: messages, photos, anything that proves his presence. This is harassment, and police can take action. Even a small report can stop it from getting worse. Comment 3. You local hero 11. This behavior is definitely stalking. You need to report it to the police, even if it feels minor right now. Document everything and make sure you tell them about his repeated appearances. The sooner you report it, the safer you'll feel. Comment 4. You protect yourself 23. This is serious. Set up security cameras if you can and report it to the police. The more evidence you have, the better. Don't wait for things to escalate. Take action now for your safety. Comment 5. You safety first 88. Please report this. Keep a log of every encounter and any strange behavior. It's stalking, and the police can help, even if it's just for a restraining order. You deserve to feel safe in your own home. Update. Thank you all for the advices and support, and I can't thank you all enough. After everything that's been happening with this guy, things have definitely escalated, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. It started with him just sitting in his car, but lately, it's been way worse. I've seen him hanging around my neighborhood more frequently, sometimes just standing on the sidewalk, looking at my house, or even lingering near my driveway like he's waiting for me to come outside. He's also started taking long, slow drives past my place, sometimes more than once a day. It feels like he's always around. I couldn't keep pretending it was just weird coincidence anymore. So I finally went to the police to report him. Honestly, I was hoping they could do something about it, but when I explained the situation, they told me there wasn't much they could do yet since he hadn't actually done anything illegal. No direct threats, no physical contact, just his constant presence and strange behavior. They told me to document everything, which I already have, but it felt like they weren't taking me seriously. It was frustrating, to say the least. So, after leaving the police station feeling pretty powerless, I decided I had to confront him. I wasn't sure if it would make things better or worse, but I couldn't stand the idea of him continuing to hang around without saying something. I waited for him one afternoon as he drove by slowly, and when he stopped near my house, I walked out and approached his car. I told him straight up that I didn't appreciate his behavior and that if he didn't stop, I would be taking further action. I made it clear that I wasn't going to tolerate it anymore and that I would report him again if this continued. He seemed caught off guard, but didn't argue. He just nodded, said he was sorry if he made me uncomfortable, and drove off. I don't know if he'll listen, but I had to try something. I'm still on edge, but I'm trying to stay calm. The whole situation is unsettling, and I'm not sure what'll happen next, but I'm keeping an eye out and continuing to document everything. I'll update again if anything else happens. Thank you again for all the support. I'm really hoping this ends soon. And a small advice to never deal for anything near your home or anywhere where the person can locate.